Hey, welcome on in, everybody. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us on out. Big news on this cool, breezy, nice, crisp morning. Dolphins, Austin Jackson has signed an extension. The news, first place I saw was Ian Rappaport. If anybody else saw it, whatever. Sorry, I didn't give you the credit. That was the first place I saw it this morning, where he tweeted out the Dolphins and right tackle Austin Jackson have agreed to terms on a 3-year, $36 million contract extension to keep Jackson in Miami. Max value is $39 million, just a shade under $21 million guaranteed. And, of course, has been an absolute monster this year at right tackle, protecting Tua on the blind side. Honestly, been the most it's kind of funny because go into this year, this fourth year, and you wonder about, all right, is he either going to sink or swim? Is he going to make it? The option not picked up on him. Where is this career going to go for him? And the big question with him last year was just durability. I mean, the guy only played a couple of games last year in a year where, you're looking for some answers on the line, and certainly he's a high draft pick, and you're hopeful that this is going to work out for him. And he'd already tried a couple positions. He tried left tackle. No. Left guard. No. That brought in Teron Armstead. All right, let's move you to the other side. Injured. And this year, with all the shuffling that there has been on that offensive line, between the guards, between Armstead being in and out, between Connor Williams missing a couple of games, Austin Jackson has been the most durable. And he has been fantastic. By all the metrics, by all the measures, he has done a great job blocking for this line, blocking and protecting Tua Tagovailoa. And so you love to see that story. He's the one thing that was interesting. I didn't even realize this. I think it was brought up in the lead into camp, but I didn't realize how just age-wise how young he was when he got picked by the Miami Dolphins. I think he had said that he wasn't even able to drink when he got to Miami. And so now at 24 years old, has himself locked up, and by the end of this deal, was he going to be 28 years old? Plenty of time to figure out where things are. But that's a really cool story. Sometimes when you have these first-round picks and there's so much pressure on them, and you're just feeling to yourselves like, this isn't going to work out. And, Mike McDaniel and Butch Berry especially, they have done such an awesome job with this line this year, and what has been a lot of pieces that they've had to move around and figure out what's going to work here. And it's gone basically week to week. They've been able to count on Austin Jackson. And, you like to see a story like that where, he comes through. Because, it is hard when you have all that pressure that comes with being the first round pick. It's not always easy to turn it around. We see this with quarterbacks. We see this with other positions. The last time I remember that, I feel like this happened with the Dolphins, where a guy was going from, everybody was rats off a ship on the guy just because of production or durability. And he kind of turned it around. He had a turnaround season, was Devontae Parker, where it was just like, what are they going to do here? And then they restructured the last year of his deal to be very team friendly. And then he balled out. I think that might've been the tank year though. And then he got a nice contract after that. But, it was, obviously it I think proved to be more of the, he was not a star receiver. He had a very, very good year. That being said, for Austin Jackson, this guy stays healthy. I think that was probably the biggest question. He finds the right home, and you like seeing some of these Dolphins get rewarded, because this is going to be a question for the Miami Dolphins. Like, how are they going to be able to keep a lot of these pieces around when everybody's having these awesome years? And I think this is really smart by Chris Grier to get out in front of it, because, first of all, we've already seen how hard it is to find linemen. The reason you have to go out, because, Austin Jackson's early struggles when he was so young, that you have to go out and get into Teron Armstead, is because your young linemen weren't quite ready yet. And there are risks that come with that when you go to free agency, because typically, first of all, you're going to pay out the nose. Second of all, there's usually some kind of a chink in the armor. There's some kind of a flaw there. And when you could just, bring your own guys in, it's the best way it could go. And quite frankly, the Dolphins are probably hoping that happens with Liam Eichenberg too. And I was talking about this on the radio show this week, but man, listen, Austin Jackson I never really got at as much as I did Liam Eichenberg because it was basically he couldn't get on the field last year. But, dude, you got to give it up for Eichenberg, too. I mean, that dude has been a Swiss Army knife. He's played a ton of positions. He probably had like 2 bad games this year, 1 really awful game this year. And, for the most part has been pretty solid wherever he's been asked to be called upon for this team. So if they could feel like those 2 highly drafted linemen work into something, because they're probably going to have to pay Connor Williams next year. And if they don't want to pay Connor Williams, then it's probably going to have to be Liam Eichenberg. They don't have to pay Liam yet, but it is going to be one of those things where you're going to want some of these young guys to work out so you can go forward and, of course, have your franchise quarterback, which is got to be the biggest price tag question that they got coming into next offseason, which I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. I don't want to do the whole, the salary cap is looming, the doomsday cap, but there are some things that, like, all right, if we could figure this out, if we know this guy is good, and you got the ruling from Mike and you got the ruling from Butch, be like, this guy's good. He's 24 years old. He's figured things out. He's gotten himself into a good place. Let's just lock this up. Boom, you're there. And especially where it's like, all right, he didn't bleed you with a crazy contract number either. You got a pretty good value on it. So it's not quite the Christian Wilkins situation where Christian Wilkins wants to be paid like the highest defensive tackle in the league. And you're like, well, I bet he's probably going to want to be the highest paid defensive tackle in the league next year too. So might as well punt on it. But now knowing that you'll have, the Wilkins thing looming or and the others, hell, who knows what Von Ginkel is going to covet after he becomes this Hard Knocks darling. And, of course, is stealing his max account from Hugh Wang. So really cool story for Austin Jackson that, it's good to see that this season is ending up in some rewards for a lot of guys. I think there's probably going to be, there's going to be a lot of guys who get rich. It was one of those things that Mike McDaniel said, right? In Hard Knocks, where he's joking with Bradley Chubb and he's joking with Jalen Phillips, where he's saying to them, he's like, hey, he goes, I want you guys to perform well, and I want you to get rich so I can get rich. And I think that's one of the things that people do dig about Mike McDaniel and his authenticity is like, yeah, you're here to win. You're here to get to the ultimate prize, but it's also your profession, and you want to make as much money as possible. And they're going to try and put you in a position to do that. And they're going to find the right places, and they're going to find the right guys who do buy in the right way to go out there and make things happen. So for Austin Jackson to do this, to not only be good and productive with how good he's been blocking this season and how good he's been protecting to and how important and vital he's been, but also the idea that, all right, there was a huge question mark because he couldn't stay on the field last year because of a bad injury, a bad ankle injury, and now you turn that into, hey, this guy's been Mr. Reliable. It's not quite what, Tua was facing, but a little bit. It's like, Tua and Austin Jackson probably relate to each other, same draft class. Their biggest issue last year was just staying on the field. But I think that people, went into last year saying, oh, I know Tua's definitely has the talent to be out there and be an elite player. Does Austin Jackson? And he seems like the answer that the Dolphins said is yes, he does. He does have the talent that we need. And so they find themselves in a spot where he again gets a new deal, a new extension, 3 years, $36 million. Awesome for him. Great turnaround, great story. Cool to see some of the success of the season. You're so focused in the moment of, just getting to where they got to get to. So it is cool that one of the players just kind of gets rewarded in the moment for how good they've been amongst everybody this season and gets to see some benefit from it. So congrats to Austin Jackson.